Hey guys, what's up? Lewin here on assignment with GuitarJams.com. Don't forget, click that link below. There's always tons of new free stuff always happening over at GuitarJams.com. But today, I wanted to talk about Gibson guitars, vintage Gibson guitars, and a model that maybe a lot of you don't know. This is actually a Gibson B25. This is a 1967. I found it on Craigslist. I'm extremely lucky, and I was able to get it for $250. But you know, it was a learning experience. I went out, I saw the guitar, and I was like, wow, that's really interesting guitar. I obviously bought it up right away for $250. But then started doing some research and thought, you know, this is interesting, and I bet a lot of people would like to learn more about the lesser expensive vintage Gibson acoustics. So this is a perfect example of that. Like I said, it's a B25, 1967. They were making these, you know, I think they made these guitars for about 20 years. There was a quick reissue in the late 90s, I think. But it was more or less a student guitar in its day. The biggest difference that I've found so far between this and a J45, which is the one that, you know, everybody knows and everybody wants, is that the neck is a little bit narrower on this. So if you're a person with big hands, this probably wouldn't be a great guitar for you. But if your hands are sort of average size, this would be a good guitar for you. And the nice thing about something like the B25 is it doesn't go for nearly as much as a J20 or J45 rather. You know, it just has that, it has that Gibson tone, that vintage Gibson tone straight across the board. It totally sounds exactly like a vintage Gibson. You know, they were making these guitars still in Kalamazoo, still all being made by hand. It has a solid spruce top, mahogany, solid mahogany back, laminated mahogany sides. Has all the binding and everything that you would normally find on a Gibson. This one, it has the, I think they're calling this the Cherry Burst. It's getting kind of old, so it's looking a little more tobacco burst. But you know, I was really excited to find this. So, you know, if you're in the market, like a lot of people probably are, for a vintage acoustic guitar, it's really worthwhile to look for something like the B25. In fact, actually, I did a Google search for the B25, and the Wikipedia page listed a bunch of other models that I was like, oh, see, there you go. Perfect example of models I didn't know about that they were making in the 60s that sell for less than a J45, you know? This sounds, to me, especially, you know, it definitely sounds like a good, you know, a J45 from that era. I've played a bunch of them. It sounds just like one of those guitars. But price-wise, you know, these typically, you can find these for around $1,000, whereas a J45 can be, of the same era, can be, you know, $2,000 and up. So you get that tone, you get that look, essentially, but you pay about half the amount of money. So that's it. The B25, 1967. You know, it just has that sound. So that's pretty much the whole review. If you like what I'm doing here for Guitar Jams, please come over and check out my own channel called GarageBand and Beyond. There's a link for that below. And I do a lot of GarageBand home recording tutorials, equipment reviews, guitar stuff, and all sorts of stuff. If you're a rocker, a guitar player, or a home engineer, yada, 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 come see GarageBand and Beyond. And I'll talk to you guys very soon. All right, have a good night. Bye.